If you're a busy professional, chances are you are sitting a ton, whether you work from home or in the office. And if you notice your body, notice your low back talking to you or maybe screaming at you, then you may be suffering from L5-S1 disc pain. Today I'm going to share with you some tips that you can use right now if you find yourself sitting most of the day, and how you can take action to help yourself heal and potentially get back on track that much easier. Hi, I'm Dr. Matt Bradbury, Family Corrective Chiropractor, and here we are at One Life Family Chiropractic in our practice here in Georgetown, Ontario, Canada. Now, today I want to talk to you about L5-S1 disc discomfort, disc pain, and if you're sitting a lot, what to do and how to help yourself get through the day. So here's a few ideas that I want to start with so you can have a better understanding of your body and how to get that much more productivity out of your day. When you're sitting a lot, especially poor posture, or you're just sitting in general, a lot of times we get fatigued, and you'll see here you have your spine. Your spine protects your nerves, basically your brain, the extension we call your spinal cord, talks to your muscles, organs, glands, all the important things, and helps with how your body heals. So consider that the L5-S1 disc, especially if you have poor posture as time goes on, muscles get tired, you start to fatigue, and possibly shift forward like this. Remember, oftentimes we get slouched through here, and guess what? This may compress the disc. And what'll happen is, if you imagine the jelly, everything starts to get pushed a bit that way. So this is the back side of everything. If you push on the back side of things, you may irritate the nerves. You'll see the nerves coming out here, but also the nerves in the middle of the spinal cord. Things may just not be comfortable if you're doing this for, let's say, 7 hours a day, 35 hours a week, times that by 50 weeks a year. You can imagine you practice this posture a lot. So if you're sitting on something soft, like a soft couch, or when you sit with a rounded spine, consider, and do it for long periods of time, consider that you may be irritating the disc through here. So if you're going to fix your sitting setup, here's a couple things that I want you to consider. First of all, if you have a really simple chair, a basic chair, what I want you to do is consider getting yourself a towel or something just like this and roll it up. And what you're going to do to help prevent that relaxation effect where you start to slouch forward and roll out and slouch your lumbar spine, what I want you to do is actually take something like this, just roll it up so that you actually have something to rely on for lumbar support. And you'll see this gives me that natural, neutral, hopefully neutral curve in my lumbar spine, and it can provide just that extra little bit of support that you need, especially when those tissues get tired and you start to slouch forward. Next, what I want you to consider is actually just, if you watch your child move around when they're little and they first start to sit at a desk, what do? They probably start to fidget a little more and move a little more, and they've gone from maybe a play-based scenario in kindergarten to all of a sudden they're sitting more. I know with my little guy, he's in SK, right? So he's up play-based, running around, and if you ask him to sit down, he wants to go do things. So what I'm going to ask you to do is actually just sit on the edge of your chair and actually change your posture so you sit up and lean forward. And if you're working at the desk, take advantage of the edge of your chair and actually shift so that you're like this. And instead of letting yourself again slouch and roll out your lumbar spine, sit up tall and actively engage those muscles. So you're going to sit on the edge of the chair, and I'm going to suggest that maybe you fidget a little more to keep those tissues moving and so you don't get stuck and slumped like this. And you probably guessed it, stand up every 20 to 30 minutes. Get your phone. One useful thing for your phone while you're trying to stay focused is take advantage of that alarm. Set it for 30 minutes. Every time the 30-minute alarm goes off, make a point of actually standing up, giving yourself that 1 minute spinal health break so that it helps reset things and you don't find yourself getting into one of those slouch situations. Of course, movement breaks can be really helpful. What I'm going to start you off with is actually just pelvic tilts. So even if you're sitting in your chair and you're sitting up on the edge of it, just like this, what I want you to try is just gently let things roll out a bit. So you slouch your lumbar spine and then come up. And what you're doing is thinking about your pelvis tilting back, tilting forward, and to visualize it, think about one of these. So you go from here and then back up. And that simple movement, remember, movement can be nourishment in terms of how your muscles, tendons, ligaments move and help nourish that disc. So do 10 of these. a couple of times an hour to help nourish things and keep things moving. Now, standing extensions can also be really useful. And what I mean is that when you stand up to take your standing break, actually just put your hands on the top of your iliac crest right here. And what you're going to do is actually just gently push back. And again, you're going to do this 10 times, and you're thinking of just taking some pressure off things, because if you've been sitting, things may be stuck, and lack of movement often leads to lack of nourishment. So what you're going to do is 10 times just gently back like this. And then, of course, finally, you do that 10 times. When you stand up, take a moment to, whether it's go get yourself a glass of water from the kitchen if you work from home, or go down to the water cooler, take a break, change the scenery. If you move your spine, it'll also help with your energy, your productivity, and especially important when you think about that afternoon potential energy crash. Think about getting up maybe a little more frequently in the afternoon to help stimulate movement of your joints, your spine, to help stimulate your brain, to stay more energetic and stay more productive. Remember, it's these simple things over time that make a difference. They're easy to do, but they're also easy not to do. But if you consistently take action over time, you often find a big difference in your health overall. So stay consistent, write yourself reminders, set them as appointments in your calendar, just like you would any other appointment, and prioritize your spinal health so that you can stay on track, stay motivated, and be productive. So remember, it's the simple, consistent things done over time that make a difference. They're easy to do, but they're also easy not to do. You don't necessarily need to go out and get yourself a brand new office chair. You just need to make a point of standing more, ideally implement a standing desk, that would be most ideal, but also making these small habits a priority and scheduling them out just like you would anything else, and prioritizing it in your calendar. So easy to do, but also easy not to do, but be consistent and watch the difference, okay? Otherwise, I'll leave you with that today. Hope you enjoyed yourself and get some helpful tips out of this. And of course, my only ask is if you found this useful, take a moment. I simply can't do it alone in terms of sharing the message of spinal health, more function for more health, and a better spine and nervous system for more health. And I can't do it alone, and my mission is huge. So if you have a moment, please take a moment to share it so the word gets out. And if you're thinking somebody as well that maybe suffered from L5-S1 disc pain after watching this, maybe you thought of somebody, please take a moment to grab the URL and send it off to them so they can get the benefit potentially too. Anyways, thank you so much for your consideration, and I hope you're having a wonderful day out there. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.